You can't compare me with other people my age because other people at my age haven't been training as long as me, consistent as me, and I'm just a different species of human being. This fight is not going to change my lifestyle financially.
The history of the heavyweight division, one of the greatest punchers in history, a man whose fights made millions of fans around the world fall in love with boxing. All this is Iron Mike Tyson.
He hasn't done that tonight. I wonder if that's a change of plan.
Oh, what a left hook. A sharp right uppercut to the body by Tyson again. Expected. He said he's not looking for the Tyson of full Brazilian matches. Here's a combination uppercut by Tyson. Tyson laid it on, pouring it on. Down goes Bruno.
On November 15th, the living sports legend will return to the professional ring for the first time in 20 years to teach a lesson to the young upstart blogger Jake Paul. Will old man Tyson put the youngster in his place, or will the new generation prevail and send Mike into retirement once and for all? It's time to find out. Friends, today's video will be dedicated to a technical breakdown of the fight between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Let's go! As tradition goes, we'll start the analysis with a bit of background, and first we'll talk about the sports legend Iron Mike. Tyson's boxing journey began in the early 80s, and his first professional fight took place in March 1985. 20 years later, on June 11, 2005, the great champion fought his last match and officially retired from the sport.
It is with pride he actually wins this round with the 10-7.
For reference, Jake was only 8 years old at the time. In 2006, Mike unexpectedly appeared in front of the public again, although this time in a semi-professional fight against Corey Sanders, whom he defeated by decision. This match was supposed to be part of a whole tour, but Tyson later backed out and once again took a long break from boxing. Over the years, the American titan of sports tried his hand at various ventures, even publishing a book, but the passion for fighting never left him. From the second half of the 2010s, Mike returned to intense training, spending a lot of time in the gym and getting himself into good physical shape. The news delighted old school fans, but no one could have guessed that Tyson was doing it all for a reason. As it turned out, the legend was eager to put on the gloves once more and feel the lights of hundreds of spotlights on him, just like in the good old days. Well, his wish was fulfilled. In the pandemic year of 2020, the sports world was stunned by the news of a fight between Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. Two retired legends were set to step into the ring for an 8-round match refereed by professional boxers. In the end, the fight lasted the full scheduled time, and the judges rendered a controversial split decision a draw. Despite the odd nature of such a match, many fans were thrilled by the Battle of the Veterans, and Tyson became enthusiastic about having a few more fights like this. Unfortunately, for a long time there was no news on this front, and we believed that the veteran was finally done with boxing. But 2024 brought us a big surprise. Now let's talk about Mike's opponent, the young and confident Jake Paul. Unlike Tyson, the problem child was not born a fighter and spent his youth not training, but building a career as a video blogger. Alongside his brother Logan, Jake began recording various videos at the age of 10 and posting them online, gradually gaining popularity and earning a decent income. For many years, the world knew the Paul brothers solely as content creators, but in 2019, both decided to test themselves in the boxing ring. Logan was the first to take the stage, fighting another well-known blogger, KSI, and soon after, Jake followed suit. His debut took place in January 2020.
He's hurt. He is hurt. And he's down again.
And did not excite the public. However, by November, Paul knocked out renowned basketball player Nate Robinson, making headlines around the world. Interestingly, that evening Jake was on the undercard of the Tyson-Jones match and had no idea that a few years later he would face one of them. Over the next 2 years, Paul fought and won 4 more matches, with his opponents being retired UFC fighters. The next step for the former blogger was a fight against Tyson Fury's brother Tommy, who finally managed to humble Jake. The first loss of his career was undoubtedly upsetting for the American, but he learned from it and came back with 4 victories, 3 of which were earned by knockout. Jake's most recent opponent was Mike Perry, who stepped in to replace Tyson. Jake easily defeated Perry and promised to do the same to the legend. But what does he have to back up that promise? Technique. When it comes to Jake's technique, his incredible progress cannot be ignored. Early in his career, the young man looked like a reckless slugger with an overhand punch, incapable of proper movements in the ring or defense. But over the years, everything changed, starting with his fight against Anderson Silva. Significant progress was evident in Paul's footwork, sense of distance, and timing. He no longer charges straight at his target, but moves in circles, cuts angles, and positions himself at the right distance. While he once only had a heavy punch, Jake has recently learned to deliver it effectively and even disguise it with basic but effective feints. In the first round, he dropped Mike Perry with a precise counterpunch. Perry, of course, isn't known for his defense, but he almost never gets knocked out. Additionally, Jake has developed a decent jab that he can use to measure distance or score knockdowns. Just ask Tommy Fury. According to some experts, today's Jake Paul could not only compete as a professional boxer, but also comfortably rank in the top 100 of his weight class. For a guy who not long ago dressed up as a Disney prince, that's quite the compliment. At the same time, Jake's skills should not be overestimated. He still has serious defensive issues stemming from his perpetually lowered hands and unwavering confidence in his reflexes. Moreover, he is known for poor stamina and tends to fade after the midpoint of a fight. It was these flaws that Tommy Fury exploited to defeat Paul. But I doubt Tyson can replicate that. Speaking of which, it's the perfect moment to discuss Mike's skills. I think we can all agree that modern day Mike is very different from his version in the early 2000s, let alone the wild beast he was in the late 80s. Nevertheless, based on his fight with Jones and